try to come prepared. We'll see.
All right. Let's kick it off. Hi everybody, I'm Lloyd, one of the co-organizers of the GDG Twin Cities. We also have tonight, actually, the last standing organizers. We got Patrick Fuentes, who's been our fearless leader of this study jams, and Jeff, who disappeared. He's over here. If you have any questions about GDG, please let us know, or any one of us know. All right, so I'm going to close that. So, quick intro. Who many have been to one of these GDG meetups before? Anybody new tonight? A couple. Somebody. Well, we got at least one person. All right.
Is there a different, like, it's kind of a binary question, but there was definitely not all the hands up on been here before.
No, I know.
Not any other hands up except one. So I'm not sure.
Who is in that in-between state?
Like, I tried to come, but I got lost. I guess that would be something. There's probably some of those tonight, sorry.
Been here, but not really mentally.
Right.
Like, that's...
Jeff didn't even remember actually being here for the last meeting, so. It's not memorable.
Anyhow, our Google Developer Group is part of it's more than just what we have here. It's a global phenomenon. I always like to toss this slide up. There's 102 countries represented that have Google Developer Groups in them. Over 600 chapters, and in the last 6 months, there have been almost 5,000 meetings worldwide with Google Developer Groups. So and actually this next month at Google I/O, I think all of us are going to go and get to meet many of these folks who run them all over the world. It's pretty cool. So if you have questions for other folks worldwide, let us know. And we are, even though the Twin Cities is a relatively small, we're pretty modest, Midwest modesty. Our chapter, the Twin Cities chapter, is routinely recognized as one of the most active and productive chapters in North America, which is United States and Canada. So for the last 6 months, we're tied for 5th here with all the other chapters that are active in North America. And this is a good advantage, I think, for our visibility and our access to content, the amount of resources that are available to us. So like this whole event, it's not DevFest, Study Jam, the Android team, their developer advocates know that the Twin Cities is one of the biggest events for the Study Jam that's been happening throughout. So it's really, I think, really kudos to our community and you all for being active and for all the work that happens there. I'll skip over, I'll say I'll skip and then I start to explain it. So Google has this program for Google Experts. We have been one of the only areas in kind of the world with 2 resident Google experts. We have Daniel Liu, who's not here yet tonight, maybe coming, and Stephen Fluent, who is one of our co-organizers. But actually, you know what? He's no longer a Google expert. He had to quit because he just started his first day at Google today. So everybody should send him a note saying congratulations. But these are, throughout the world, throughout the country in particular, these are people who don't work for Google, but are known as kind of experts in the topic of different Google products and are good at speaking and good at talking and being excited about their products. So this is a resource that's available to us as a developer group, and also something that you all are welcome to apply for and join. There's a couple criteria, and they've formalized it a little bit more since it started, but it's pretty cool to join this group of people who are really knowledgeable in these product areas. So if you have questions about that, talk to me or these guys. What else do we got? So we got this domain, gdgtc.com. We are running low on, it looks like, Oh, I see, the display. Pretty much our primary thing of interest are the upcoming meetups. So those live on meetup.com. If you want to hear about any of our upcoming meetups, then please join our meetup group. Meetup.com, just search for GDG Twin Cities or GDG TC. We just cleared, this last year is pretty exciting because we cleared 1,000 members, and we're now up to 1245 as of today. So also again one of the larger regional meetups as well. So upcoming we have, on the schedule we have tonight's meetup. I'm pretty stoked about this meetup in June. So we'll not be here. Right. Well, I meant to have a conversation, but we'll just do that in front of 50 people. So next month, we're not going to have our first Tuesday meetup, which we normally, it's the first Tuesday of the month is our meetup. The next couple of months will be a little bit mixed up. So next month, in 2 weeks, we're not going to do that because we're going to have a Google I/O extended event. So while Google I/O is happening in San Francisco, at least Augusto and possibly Nursery, we'll see, likely not the Nursery. Augusto is going to host a viewing party. Right? There's how we roll. Which has been pretty great, and will be a spot for to gather and see the announcements that happen, and then also have a couple of folks, regional experts, come in and maybe run a workshop or have it be a little more interesting kind of day of. That's not yet on there, but then afterwards, on June 7th, we've got Mark Mandel, who works for Google, is going to be in town for a different conference that week, and reached out to us. And so he'll be running this talk and workshop on scaling your app in Docker. So that'll be, I'm pretty excited about having an actual Google employee expert in the cloud working on scaling their app. But again, join the meetup to hear about any future stuff coming up. We got our code of conduct. There's a slide, one of those. Basically, be excellent to each other. We're all here in the spirit of learning and collaborating. And there's a lot about setting the tone. I think that our group has been pretty phenomenal about that. If you feel like that's not necessarily the case, then I'm kind of the declared point of contact. You know, talk to me in person or email, or my phone may even be posted there because we're right here. On the slide, so about that. Well, there it is. So that's our code of contact. Huge thanks tonight to our host, kind of our longest running sponsor and BFF, GDG TC BFF of Code 42. So thank you so much for food and space. Say anything about what's happening here in Code 42?
You're not in Code 42 right now. This is just a public area, but you know, thanks for coming. We always love to be a part of this. We have been for a long time, like what I said. Actually, I've been saying for like maybe 6 months that we're not hiring, and suddenly we are hiring again a lot. So, you know, we have a careers page just like everyone else. Go and look at that. You can work here. I think it was just in the newspaper, so I would imagine that's public knowledge now that we are actually moving just across the river in downtown early next year. So if you're into being on the 21st floor and having a great view, that might work. A couple of housekeeping things. The bathrooms, which I saw in the cleaners leave, so they're open. There's a couple of bathrooms open. They're just behind us down the hall, back towards the parking ramp. There should be some signs. And there's obviously plenty of pizza and soda. And also, since we do have like every other meetup here, usually when it's not the mixed up schedule, the best way to get into here, if you got confused tonight of how to enter, the doors like along Main Street are open, like the main doors that would come into like my Wild Roast or the Old Maddie's, that's always open. There are doors from, a good way is from the park ramp. If you want to park in the ramp, it's a little expensive, but that's always open. And then I believe the doors on the second floor, like along whatever that would be, Second Street or whatever, that's open. And the meters are like 4 hours, so that's pretty good. Most of them are 4 hours, but check. And yeah, if you need anything, just holler at me today. Facilities.
Cool. Thanks. So also, we'll post this in the comments of the meetup, but one of the great things about working with Google is they're really metrics driven, and one of the key metrics that they have are, as this program has grown, when I started this group in 2009, it was kind of somebody's 20% project, and I liked being able to say for years that Google supports our group with a thumbs up. And they would be happy for us to have all the events we like, but we didn't get any money or speakers or really any resources except for big kudos. That's changed a lot in the last couple of years, and it's great, definitely to Google's credit. But for now, the folks who I like to call our Google handlers, they need to be able to report to their boss and kind of show some metrics. And one of the key indicators that they have is folks who fill out this form. So bit.ly/GDG survey TC will pre-populate the drop-down for you to be Twin Cities. It's pretty super short form. This being the last night of a series of events, there's going to be a number of other surveys that we're going to ask you to fill out. This one is the general kind of, just a GDG event. So please always fill out this survey. When you do, you get entered into a raffle, and our group has won, I think, 2 of the 6 raffle events that have happened because we're bigger and so we got Chuck's showing off his watch that he got. We got a Chromebook somewhere, probably on my dining room table, but
this is a Chromebook if anybody's wondering.
And I heard there's new ones that they're going to announce soon, but so that's an incentive to do that. But also then there'll be a follow-up one specifically for the Android team. So the Android team has helped kind of partner with Udacity and put together the content specifically for this 4-week course that you've all just finished. That's kind of my intro. Do you have more stuff? Should I just keep on going? Yeah, that's great. All right. All right. You got to announce the prize you're going to win.
Oh, yeah. So, ton of fabulous prizes. If you present, you get a fabulous prize. At the end, if you fill out this survey, we'll select a winner at random at the end of the event. And then, Lloyd was mentioning, pretty soon we're going to send out 2 surveys. Just pretend it's like one. 2 surveys to fill out. If you fill those out, we will be awarding prizes for that as well.
Nice.
They're really nice. It's a top-notch prize.
Top-notch. We got shirts and squishies and collectible figurines and all the. I haven't even seen the hats.
Very nice.
All right. So I guess before we do any presentations, anything for the group, or any other announcements, I used to be really good about making space in the intro. If anybody is hiring, or at your personal company, or looking for work, anybody want to raise their hand and give a shout out? Start here.
My work isn't hiring, but my wife's work is.
Hiring.
A lot of different things.
A lot of things. Okay.
It's Optum, which is United Healthcare.
Oh, sure.
So that's probably not.
All right. And wide range of tech.
Yeah.
All right. Wide range of tech. Optum.
I don't think they're doing. I think they are hiring. I saw one that was an experienced Android developer position,
right.
And my wife is a full stack web developer, and they've been hiring a bunch of those. So if that helps anybody.
Wait, one back here. Are you looking, or do you have a job?
Yeah, I'm just moved to a stay.
Okay.
So I'm just job.
Looking for a job. What's your background? What?
I'm the software engineer, and I use the C# or I can write an application suite.
Okay. All right. Teo, do you know anyone else? Louis?
Yeah, I thought that they are essentially available for part-time consulting / contracting opportunities and short-term consulting contracting, preferably Android-related support. But I have a lot of Java experience, enterprise Java, whatever.
Good. Possible part-time Android help? Louis? Yeah?
Not really related to Android, but my company is hiring PHP developers. We're Spider-Craft, we're in downtown Minneapolis, and Basilica. I'm not a manager or anything, but you can send us an email.
What's the name of the company?
Spider-Craft,
Spider.
with a Y.
Yeah,
Spider.
Trap. Oh. All right. Anybody else? All right. So, who signed up to talk tonight? We have a list somewhere. All right. Great. Yeah. You need. Hopefully, you've got HDMI.
Yes. There's an adapter up there. Display port.
Oh, okay. We got a.
Oh, there's already an adapter.
You gotta turn on your machine.
Alright, well, my name's Joel Freeze. So my presentation is going to be a little bit different than just showing us Android.
In your hand, though, you gotta speak up. See if that doesn't work.
My presentation is going to be a little bit different because I'm not just going to show the Android app. I'm going to kind of go through my thought process, what app I wanted to make, go from there. So we'll start talking a little bit about the general idea of why I wanted to make the app I wanted to make, then what it took to build the app, and then from there I'll dive into the code. You guys want to see that? And then I'll show you kind of where I'm at right now with what I'm building, and then talk about some of the challenges and improvements that I think I can make with the project. So, like I mentioned, I kind of want to think outside the box. By the box, I mean think outside the phone. I wanted to make something that was not just something you hold in your hand and play with. And I wanted something that had to do with my interests. So a couple of those. One, I like things that explode. I don't know, Mythbusters fan, that kind of thing. Second, I like working with microcontrollers, Raspberry Pis, those kind of things. So I wanted to involve that. And last but not least, I wanted to kind of bring out my inner child in whatever project I wanted to make. So with that all said, this is what I decided I was going to make. It is basically a cellular communication, remote controlled Power Wheels car that can launch a rocket. Yeah. So I'll talk a little bit about how I actually made that. First, this is a little tiny Raspberry Pi Zero. It's like a little computer basically. That is tethered to a cell phone. That's not where that Android is. That basically is just a cell phone with tethered internet. And then it has these basically are send electrical signals. Some just send a signal, some do special signals. To these guys, basically they just tell this battery, sitting on a battery to power things. This is kind of my initial stages. I started with a PlayStation remote control.
This is the servo, which basically is what will turn the wheels. It eventually ended up with this huge servo, which turns a bar to turn the wheels. There's a little bit more that goes into it. These devices basically control the speed of the wheels, and they make things for not like heating, overheating. This is, oh yeah, just for good measure, I added underglow. All right, so to make this, I realized early on that I couldn't just have the phone talk directly to the car, because you can't like open ports on a cellular network or somewhere it's blocked, right? So I had to make both of these guys initiate a connection to kind of like a middleman server, and then that server will relay the messages back and forth. All right, so I'm trying to show you how I did this. This one goes very well. How to make it clear. All these things presentation notes. Not too sure if you can read that. Basically, that's how the activity main.xml. So what I did is I basically just did radio buttons. All this is kind of for diagnostic purposes to see if I can hit a button and if it actually registers. So I hit a button, and then one of these bubbles will light up. This is the D-pad. I think these checkboxes were for the underglow. It was a toggle more than a hold down. So if you hit it, it would toggle like this. And then the code here basically is me setting up all these buttons. I start a network connection, and I hit that middleman server, and I basically just say car. And that middleman server will kind of register that, oh, that's the car. I'm going to do the car stuff. And then this is a method that basically just sends that everything else to the middleman server. And these are all methods that basically, when a button is pressed, it will basically just say circle pressed and send that actual string along with, I think it appends car or something, you know, it's still the car up to the middleman server. And then basically the same thing with the server stuff. This is car. So this is the car. Same thing, it initiates something to the middleman server, and it says car. Oh, I mean, the one before said phone. And then this will take the commands that are sent from the phone, and if it reads that, oh, start got pressed or X got pressed, it will do something specific. So in that little tiny computer, there's a library called pigs that will do what's called PWM. So if I wanted to just turn the wheel a little bit, it sends a special signal that just turns it a little bit. So this basically is all stuff that sends information to that little computer. And then here is the server. Basically it sees if it says car or phone. And then depending on what it does, it launches it red. This basically will say, if this is a message from the phone, send it to the car. So here's me punching it off. highly insecure. If I set up the car and someone else had this, they could launch off the rocket immediately. So there's no authentication for my phone or specific phones. Bad things could happen for sure. I did everything with the breadboard pretty much. So as the car drove, things got disconnected. It was a real pain. So I would want to, have a better solution for that. Controllers. I started with a PS3 controller. I got a new phone, and the PS3 you have to root your phone. I didn't want to do that, so I switched to a different controller. The mappings most of them switched. So there needed to be a way to handle that as well. And lastly, since this is all over the cellular network, it'd be awesome to just be somewhere completely not even being able to see the phone or the car, and on my phone being driving. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't know if anyone has questions about it.
Have you been in discussions with Michael Bay?
Is this your first Android app?
No, I made one before this, very similar. I glued together different pieces of a translation program, and I made a Hmong translator. So, yeah. All right, thanks a lot.
In addition to whatever awesome thing Patrick has, grab one of the Androids.
Oh, thank you. Also,
Your favorite prizes.
all right.
Whatever you like.
Giant plushie. Who else would like to present? All right.
Thank you, Lloyd. How's it going, everybody? That was a great job, Joel.
Thank you.
I really appreciated that. It got me thinking about my next project. So I wanted to make something for my son. He's 3.5 years old. He's really interested in all the phone, like being able to drag things around. So I want to make a little drag and drop application for him that he could maybe do a little learning on. This one might be out there, might not be, but I figured the cool thing is I made it for him, and he gets really excited because I always tell him, hey, Daddy's making a game for you. And that could be a little troublesome because now every time he sees me, he's like, Daddy, where's my game? So right now I'm only really at the proof of concept stage. So I have basically just one application that I can do the drag and drop operations on. What I will need to do advancing forward is be able to have different pictures and different letters and stuff. But how this will work is you'll have a series of letters underneath that'll be scrambled, and then some locations for him to drop to, and then a picture for him to look at and try to figure out what the word is. So then you push and hold on the letter, and it'll separate from its it's not the target location, it's the other one, but then the target location. You drag it to where it would go, and then eventually you can spell the word. And I figured I would have some maybe graphics or something that would pop up on the screen letting him know that, hey, way to go, or Eventually, I would like to be able to record myself so that when he gets it right, I'll pop up on the screen, and or maybe his mom, because you know he likes his mom more. But if he gets it wrong, it could be me or something. So yeah, that's basically my project. I could open it up here and show you a little bit of the code. So I will say I got stuck these last 2 weeks. It was really difficult to figure out how to transition all of the different objects. Like I'll have, well, I'll wait until the show opens up and I can kind of walk you through what the different components were. So, Windows. We'll say I have some time to get this done. Birthday isn't until September 1st, so hope to have that as another birthday present for him. Obviously, everything was stacked one over the top of the next, so that's the linear layout. You have the image, and then you would have 3 drop locations and the 3 letter locations.
Good view as a presentation mode that will make this really
I'm sorry?
Go to the view menu, there's a presentation mode that'll make this really big for everyone.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. Thank you.
Be on top, right, your presentation.
Oh, there it is. Oh, okay. All right. So, starting with, above it is the larger layout that wraps everything. Then the first element is the image view. I have a file in the drawables folder with the ID of cat. I didn't really have to give it an ID because obviously SCR is how I believe it finds it. But so from there we get into our 3 drop zones. So to have them lined up next to each other was another linear layout, orientation horizontal. I chose to do the gravity centered to try to get everything centered on the screen. And then I gave everything a weight of 3, I did a weight sum of 3, and then I gave everything a weight of 1. I had to look this up, so I'm not entirely certain how this all worked, but there was a way that I could get the background colors to, there was like a configuration file. So that's why the background was blue like that. And then actually when you went over the top of it, it turned to a darker blue, kind of letting you know that you entered the drop zone.
How did you figure out when you were in the drop zone?
I'm sorry?
How did you figure out when the block was in the drop zone?
Oh, sure. That's all in the Java, and I will that's actually controlled by the application. But when I get to the Java section, I'll show you guys how that went. So then here's the bottom part, which is each one of the letters. Instead of trying to mess with a text view, I just opened GIMP and created a letter. And got them all the right sizes and centered, and then so the images are the right size and fit for where they're at. I would probably want to try to figure out a way to do text instead of images, because I know you can drag and drop text too, but images were easier for me to start with. And then somewhere in here, that's where I draw the black line on the bottom, and that's just some padding there. So how would I move to the next?
Yeah, if you put your mouse over to the left, that will pop up the.
Sorry guys, I'm not too familiar with this. I'm not sure where the Java code is here. Is there any way I can exit audio? Yeah.
Yeah, just go. Just put your mouse over the top.
So the drag and drop library is not a terrible library. It was a little difficult to start out with. Declaring some views in the top here. Then I just, with those views, I'm sorry, I'm declaring some objects here. And then I'm basically finding the ID of the different letters, which are images, and pushing them into the object. The tags, let's see, so the set long click listener was, so this, when you push down, it takes about a second before the image will disconnect from its dock zone. So there was another one that reacted more fast, but the problem was is that, let me show you here. So you build a shadow. When you hold down on the image, it creates a shadow of that image. So you're actually not grabbing the image in the file really. So what you have to do is have that image get set to invisible so you can hide that. It's kind of a timing thing. And the listener that would undock more rapidly, the invisible wouldn't work quite as well. It would like glitch out sometimes, like maybe you tap it or it would just read your finger twice. So I decided to just go with a long click. And then here's kind of where the magic happens. So once you have the image undocked from its location, there's these event listeners like drag event started, drag event entered, exited, and dropped that kick in, and then all of your like drop zones start to listen for these events. And then here's where, so there's probably a better way of doing this, but all your drop zones begin to listen for the events. So to get them to only drop in the correct zone, you have to have it. What I chose to do is these if statements. This was kind of the challenging part from where I'm at, because I had to find the ID, which meant I had to basically try every method option, dump it into a variable, see what that looked like in the debugger, and then eventually found the one that got me what could match up with the ID of that image that was set up higher in the program. That's it, really. It's actually a pretty easy library once you go through it once. The first time is, like anything, pretty challenging. So like I said, I hope to have this done by September 1st, by the time my son turns 4 years old. He's really looking forward to it. I really appreciate you guys letting me present it to you, because I know that now I have to stay honest and make sure I get it done. So any questions? Any questions?
Are you going to put the code up on GitHub or anything like that where we can see how you did this?
Sure, no problem. I've got a repo going with my name, and I'll just post that on the meetup. Well, thanks guys, I really appreciate it.
Hello guys, I'm River Chen and I come from Taiwan and I moved to stay last July. And nice to meet you. At the beginning, I have because Landry is my first and the only company I have been to in the state, so I have a question on Landry. So I don't know if it's suitable to answer. Okay, but
You in?
any ideas? No, the question is this. Okay, so is this normal? When I saw this earlier dispenser in the cafeteria, is it normal in the company in the United States?
It's surprisingly normal for people that make apps.
Okay, because I have worked many years in Taiwan, and I never see this in any Taiwanese company. So if I want to bring a beer can in the company, my boss face will look like this. So I'm so surprised to see this in Netherlands.
Well, that's why they have the taps, you know, you can't use the cans.
Okay. Okay. Before my presentation, I want to say thank you to Patrick and Landry. Because of this event, I have learned how to make my first Android app. And I know I still have a lot of things I need to learn, but I think I will keep working on it, and I will do my best to make more and more useful apps in the future. So thank you. Okay, this is my app, the English learning note. You can see the web page beside this. And maybe this subject is boring because what is new so much for me. Because when I came to state and I went to the ESL class and I met a lot of friends from this class. They all come from different countries, and we study hard and come to school every day. But some of them, they have a job, so they can come to school every day. So it will be hard for them to follow when they come to school and every single day. So when I thinking what kind of job I want to do, and one day I was in a class and I saw every classmate, they all had a smartphone. So I want to help them. I like to help people because I truly believe if you, the real happiness comes from help others. So I want to use this app to make them learning very convenient and handy. Yeah. So I try to put all the content of my class in this app. And but the content is not illegal because it's all copied from the book. And because my talent of art is just like a baby, so I use a lot of images from the internet. So this app is not allowed to let me put in a program. But I think it's okay because I just want to help and I can send any day to them. They still can use it. So it's alright. And every time when I get a feedback from them, I truly feel happy because they give me a lot of suggestion and encouragement, and even they give me strength to keep doing this. So I feel so good. Okay, let's demo my app. When I make this app, I try to put everything that I learned in this app. So the main page is a electric layout, and this is main view, and this is button. And I try to put the navigation bar just like that, and you can click the link to link the class web page. Like this. And I try to use this view to show the vocabulary, and this data is set in the XML file. So I try to pass the file. And I also try to connect the server, so I use the Firebase server, and I put the article title link and the image link in the server. When I click in this page, you will get the data from the server. And I also try to boost the page, and I can switch the page just like slider, like this. And also I put the online check room, but this is the demo from the Fire server, Firebase server. So if you like to add this function to your app, you can check out the website. And also I think the character is more important for my app. So I do a lot of research on the internet and find a sample from the GitHub. And I think this is good way for me. But I still need to complete this because I cannot add my event to this app. So I keep working on it. And
search the river 086, enjoy movie, you can find it. Thanks. Any question?
Have any of your friends from class put it on their phone?
What?
Have any of your friends from your ESL class
Yeah.
put
Yeah.
the indicate on their phone?
Yeah.
Yeah? They're using it?
Yeah, they like it and, and I feel very happy when they use my phone. Really like it. Sorry.
I like it. I'm also from Taiwan too. Maybe next time you can create one to learn Taiwanese because there's none of them on the culture.
Yeah. Sounds good. Thank you. Okay. Thank you.
Just in time for people to be able to hear now. There's more? Oh, great. I don't know if it's easier over here a little bit.
Is that an HDMI cable?
Thank you.
Okay. I just wasn't sure what this was. Oh, do you have one?
All right, everybody see that? Yeah. All right, I'm Nick Brooks. I'm a software engineer, primarily a Java developer, but trying my hand at Android. Kind of like most people, I started this app with just thinking about what things I like to do, what I'm passionate about. I like to travel. I actually did some decoding on this app on my 5-day flight back from Vegas this morning. So if anything goes wrong, that's probably why.
We left it in Vegas.
Yep. So basically what I decided to do was take a picture of food, from some new place that you're traveling to and figure out what it is, what's in it, what the locals call it, the things that you like to do when you're traveling and you're trying new things. So it's pretty simple. You can click on a picture on that menu that I just showed it, and I don't know if you guys can see the text here, but the app will tell you what it is. So these are some beignets from New Orleans. Got the name there, beignet. It's also fried. It's sort of like a donut. It's baked good. A couple more examples here. Lasagna. Italian food, close enough. And so basically what this is using the Google Vision API in the background. And I learned all about that at the GDG DevFest earlier in February. And it just seemed like a really cool thing to play around with. So right now the app has its own folder on the phone where it's saving all these photos. You can store photos in there, it'll load them up, you can click on it, it'll tell you what's in the app. You can also take a picture of food. I don't have an actual physical device, so I won't demo that right now. You can take a picture, and it'll identify what's actually in the image that you upload. I'm not sure what it's safe for my shirt, so I'm gonna try. And then you can also upload an image from another location on the phone. I only have these 6 images here. And I just gave a kind of generic, this is a meal of some produce type breakfast thing. It's actually sakarash from Croatia, which is my next trip this summer, so I'm going to throw it in there, give it a try. Still a little rough around the edges, there's still some things to work out. Mostly Google's fault because the vision API isn't specific enough. Tried to stick to the material design guidelines, so I have this navigation drawer. A lot of this is from a template. My idea is that eventually you want to show catalogs of various trips that you've taken. You want to be able to share to your friends on Facebook, Twitter, Insta, etc. None of that's done yet, but that's kind of the future if I was to keep working on this, the kind of thing that I explore. And really, so being able to develop this library of tags associated with the picture. So, you tweet the picture and say this is, hashtag so-and-so from, etc. You can use the location services on the phone to figure that part out. Yeah, that's pretty much my app. I won't show you any code because, I wrote it at 5 a.m. It's all commented on. Yes, any questions?
What did you use a library to make the connection
to the Google Vision API?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, they actually have a dependency that you can just stick into your Gradle file, and it gives you entities for parsing the JSON that they send back. So, for example, they have an image class, so you can encode your image based on the URI that Android gives you. I think you have to convert it to some special format, and they recommend a size less than 800 units, and you just make the call to their API. It's a pretty simple REST API. You post to this endpoint, and they return a JSON response that looks something. But it has a label that says what it is, and then a rating to say how likely it is to be that. I think on a scale of 0 to 1. So, for example, if I click on this one, I'm going to get some bad results. I've tried it a couple times. Oh, this is pretty good. But basically what I did was I filtered out any. It found a bunch of labels for this. I think one of the labels it found for this was heart, with a rating of about 54% likelihood. So I just filtered out everything that's less than 60% likely to actually be the item. I also cheated a little bit because I tried a few examples of this, and pretty much every one of these came back with food as an example. Like, well, it's kind of the point of the app. So food's going to be one of the results. I filter out words like food, plate, because a lot of the pictures are actually shown on a plate. And it was like, well, that's a plate. Not that part. So I filtered out, so I have a list of words that, I don't care to see in the response. Food, plate. I missed a couple like meal, but filter out some of those generic words. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Are your results cached or saved, or every time you click on the image that you're making the call?
Every time right now it's doing it. And Google's probably going to hate me if I did that in the long term and release it to a bunch of people. So ultimately I would probably implement some kind of a backend server that would cache these results for this particular picture for lots of reasons. Also, it would be, kind of that security discussion that I asked you about. If I was going to put this on the Google Play Store, I'd have these calls to the API be routed through my own backend server to kind of protect that API key, to keep that a little bit more secure. Actually, in the documentation for the Google Vision API, they're like, we'll give you this API key, but only use it for testing. Don't actually put this in your hand, because that's how bad things happen. A couple other things that the backend server would be useful for example, storing account information, Facebook, Twitter, all that sort of stuff. You might be able to just do that with extreme intense to the actual app on the phone. I'm actually an iPhone guy, so this is really my introduction to Android. I'm trying to figure out the different pieces of the framework at the same time. Any other questions? Cool.
I will make a tip
Yeah.
to you that you might want to be careful about not putting that in GitHub
Right.
in its current version.
Yep. Yeah,
Take the key out first.
definitely. Yeah, I've been
Few people have made a mistake.
reading a couple tips about how people have been managing API keys, and it's like there's just a ton of apps that were found actually on the Google Play Store, and they all had these public API keys in there. So not a good practice.
Come choose your prize.
Yeah.
Can't forget the important things.
Yeah.
No, that's great. Let me see what they do.
Yeah, that's actually the first time I've seen it. So I made a Magic 8-Ball app. The end of February, my wife and I were going on a cruise, and we'd already had a session or two of this, and I was excited still, but I didn't want to bring a laptop to the cruise since we were trying to backlight. So I actually found a development environment called Aid. That's a full IDE for Android I had on my phone. So I was playing with that on the plane, and I had copied all the Udacity videos onto my SD card, and I was looking at that, and I got so excited when I got home that I decided to code something up and throw it on the Google Play Store. So I kind of did the opposite. My app was more simple, but I did a whole bunch of infrastructure work, and I got it to work on this Mac.
Still working on here.
Is anyone in this room good with technology?
No, I shouldn't have said that out loud. I got it to work on my Windows desktop and on my phone, and they're all connected through GitHub. So I had that, get all the setup I had to do because I had Android Studio on two different, OSs, and I had it on my phone with a totally different IDE. And apparently there's some issues with libraries and so forth on that, but I got that resolved, so that was kind of fun. And then I've got, I'm Benjamin Larson, and I work at, I'm a developer at Dell Storage. So. And it's really pretty simple. It's basically just, you pick a random thing out of an array, and since it resolves to an integer for the resource, I just made an int array with all the images. When I was doing it, I actually had a button down here, and then I realized, clicking on, everybody I was looking at was trying to click on sites of test users. The 8-Ball itself, so I was like, why do I need the button? I was putting the button there just because I knew how to make a button. So it's actually, I ended up taking out more code to make the product more polished, which I thought was kind of fun. And then I made a landscape version as well because the graphics didn't line up quite right. And I actually made all the graphics myself. I took everything because I knew I wanted to put it on the Google Play Store, I called it Mystic 8-Ball instead of Magic 8-Ball, so I don't get sued even though there's a ton of Magic 8-Ball apps on the store already. If they ever decide to send cease and desist letters, I'm hoping out that list. And then I made my own graphics, had to make the transparent background. By far, the hardest thing out of all the setup I did was the graphics. The rest of it was much easier. So then I made my own really professional website. That's the whole site. Not a web developer. And the website is actually a GitHub page. My wife actually just switched careers from being a teacher to being a full stack web developer last summer. And so I picked up a little bit from her. One of them was I learned that GitHub Pages is out there, and you can store source code, and that'll actually make it into a free website for you. So I gave GoDaddy $1 and bought a domain for a year and put it on GitHub's servers. So then I paid $25 to Google and got a Google Play account. So this is my installs here. This is just the developer
page, and then this looks too. Anybody want to fix that? The resolution here?
Five-star app.
There's links to both the page I was just trying to display, the giant resolution, and the source code in the GitHub repo. If you just go to Piano House Creations, and it's called Piano House Creations because my wife and I bought our house and it's piano windows, so that when we were house hunting, we just called it the Piano House. Okay, Creations there, that's my name. So that's pretty much it. This is what the app looks like. I made a custom icon for it. So I was sick of looking at those little green things. And it does exactly as you'd expect. You ask a question, it's not actually monitoring the microphone. Stretch goals would be actually like take advantage of the Google, APIs to, actually have people say stuff and have a trigger on that. Have maybe people can shake it. I was looking at some of those things. And yeah, so you can just click on it, it just randomly returns. And actually this whole image refreshes here. The triangle I actually took and I made an upside down triangle and a right side up triangle that I typed in these words. So the black right here is a new image each time. So I just made a template for myself and then I just typed in the words and made a bunch of iterations for them. So now that I have that template, I can add those. Another thing I'd like to do is to make this actually somehow be a text view within the image view, but I looked into trying to get that and I just couldn't get it to scale real well, so I just went with reload the static images. So that's pretty much it. Any questions?
Anybody else? Yeah, what a great collection, an example of work that can get done in 4 weeks' time. Easy 4 weeks, right? It's kind of.
I didn't
say
say
right
that,
through
but I
that.
have one I can show. Is that okay?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so my name is James Sturdivant, and I took decided to do a project that I've done a number of times before. The first time I did it was in 2001 for the Palm Pilot. If any of you were raised Catholic or know somebody who was, you've probably heard of a rosary. And this is an application that's called a scriptural rosary. This one is called Virtual Rosary. It's actually somebody else has written a version for Windows. Originally, somebody had written it for the Palm Pilot, but he lost the source code. And when I asked him to make a change to it, he said he couldn't. So I said, "Can I try rewriting it?" He let me. And then I developed it for Windows Mobile. I don't think I ever released that one. But I decided to write it for Android, and so basically, in the current iteration, you just click through each of these, the litany of prayers, and these scroll, and then when you get to the main part of the rosary, it has a scriptural reference for each one of the Hail Mary ones. Now down here you can barely see it because the graphics are still sized for the Palm Pilot. It shows you where in the beads you are. And you just step through the whole thing so it keeps you in focus. Now, before I release it, I want to do where you can just take your thumb and flip the screens from side to side. I've had a heck of a time getting the layout set up so that it'll do that. It keeps writing over things that I want it to. So that has been very frustrating, but and most of it over on this side, you can kind of see it. Very little of it is actually Android related. Most of it is just plain old Java objects. So I've got an object for the beads. I call this image up here an icon. If you're familiar with religious imagery. And then there's prayers, verses, and so forth. So it's versatile. I could convert this to another Java-based platform if I wanted to. Well, probably just as much effort as I'm doing on this one. So that's it. As I said, I've written this before. If you go out to, there's a website called virtualgrocery.org, and my name's out there, even though the poem is long dead. I still miss the poem.
I've got one in my basement if you want it.
Oh, I've still got one.
A lot of the folks from Palm moved over to Android.
Did they? I can see it. It's a fun platform to work with. So that's fine. And hopefully, once I get the flipping part figured out, then I'll put it out on the Android store. Yeah.
Are those all image views in there? You have converted them to text views and separate image views, right?
There's the way it's lined up. It's two sections that are. It's a vertical. The whole thing's vertical, and then I've got two horizontal linear views, and then it's image and text views with inside that. And the other thing I did, because the images that I took from the virtualgrocery.org, they're all together, so I chop them up and just display part of the image at a time.
That was really cool. And so a little I don't know, foreshadowing of the program is that the Google, so this format has worked really well to have a kind of a hands-on, allow for a little bit more of a deep dive. This structure is pretty introductory. I know Patrick has talked about kind of a hunger for some people in the community to have more of a advanced course. And so we're talking about that and what that might look like, even just regionally, but also with the broader kind of Google developer groups and seeing what might come of that. So there's nothing really in the books for that just yet. But come Q3, so after June and then into winter, we likely will do something similar to this format, not Android. So there's a number of other products that are working on putting together a good deep dive kind of into their product base. If I were to, I really know nothing, but cloud has been announcing a lot of things. I would not be surprised if there was something around cloud, whether that's specifically like Python or Firebase or Kubernetes or something. I wouldn't be surprised if there was something around that. And then I don't even know what else there might be. But so look for more of these kind of structured formats in the future. We're always looking for speakers. So every month we usually have one topic. We've been bouncing back and forth between Code 42 as our host and Augusto in Minneapolis, and that's worked really well. So if you are working on a project, or you find yourself kind of getting more into this project that you're doing now, or anything that's kind of Google, falls under the Google developer umbrella, which is really wide, we'd love to hear about it. And whether that's at an expert level, if you really, really know your stuff, or you're just discovering it, I actually find that people who are just getting into something, those are usually the more interesting kind of presentations, because not everybody's an expert, and you get to talk about why you find it interesting, what the resources are, and how somebody else might get into it, so that kind of structure. If you're not really sure that you're a good presenter, we have this resource, we have this global resource of people who probably have a slide deck that you could start from as a template that would cover maybe some different things on pretty much any of the Google topics that we can get you a leg up there. So that's just my plug to say you should totally come talk at our future event and let any one of us know. Any other announcements or housekeeping? Survey, bit.ly. GDG survey TC, and we'll have the 2 follow-up surveys coming soon. One is for the Android team, and one will be for us to help make these events and these recurring events continue to be successful. Huge, huge thanks to Patrick for all the work that he's done. GDG survey, yep, TC. Yep.
GDG
That's GDG survey TC.
Oh.
Yep. So honestly, Patrick, thank you very much. It's been a real pleasure to watch you kind of take charge of this and make this a great event. Everybody has to eat like 5 slices of pizza before you can go, and then go. Thanks for coming.